Welcome to another episode of Red Watch TV. Today, we delve into a thought-provoking narrative, tracing the trajectory of geopolitical theories, from their conception to their potential influence on contemporary international politics. This journey will begin with the studies of English geographer Sir Halford John Mackinder, to the controversial views espoused by Russian political scientist Alexander Dugin, and the real-world implications of these ideas on places like Ukraine. Our story begins at the turn of the 20th century, when the world was undergoing seismic shifts in power dynamics, spurred by the Industrial Revolution, colonial conquests, and the emergence of new nation-states. The stage was set for academics like Mackinder, and later Dugin, to craft theories that would, perhaps inadvertently, shape nations' strategic outlooks for decades to come. Our journey starts with the visionary academic Sir Halford John Mackinder, who in 1904 authored the paper entitled The Geographical Pivot of History. This renowned English geographer, often hailed as one of the founding fathers of geopolitics and geostrategy, formulated an idea that would shape international political discourse for decades to come. Mackinder proposed what would come to be known as the Heartland Theory. In his perspective, the world was divided into three key regions: the world island, consisting of Europe, Asia, and Africa, and hosting approximately 87% of the world's population; the coastal islands, namely Japan and the British Isles; and the peripheral islands, encompassing North and South America and Australia. In the heart of the world island, he identified a vast zone he termed the Heartland, stretching from the Carpathians in the west to the Altai Mountains in the east, and from the Hindu Kush range in the south to the Baltic Sea in the north. This region, protected by geographical barriers such as mountain ranges and the sea, was challenging to invade, earning it the additional moniker of the pivot zone. But what made this heartland pivotal in Mackinder's theory? For him, control over the heartland was tantamount to control over the world island, which in turn would grant control over the world. The intricate dance of geopolitical movements was not just determined by geographical position, but also political power, war strategy, demographic forces, and economic control. His model reflected the great game of international politics, where control over Eastern Europe could ensure dominance over the heartland, and thus the world. However, as with all theories, Mackinder's concept met with substantial criticism and was subjected to many reinterpretations. One prominent rebuttal was the Heartland Theory, proposed by Nicholas Spikeman, which suggested that the true global power lay not with the heartland, but with the nations bordering it. But despite the criticisms, Mackinder's Heartland Theory continues to feature in geopolitical strategies and political discourses, underlining its enduring relevance in the complex game of global power dynamics. Delving deeper into Mackinder's compelling theory, we see how it not only influenced strategic thinking, but also presented a unique perspective on international politics. The Heartland Theory posited that the control over Eastern Europe could tip the scales towards global dominance, a notion that was bound to stir nations' ambitions. Mackinder deemed Russia the central state of the world due to its command over the heartland, or pivot zone. According to him, Russia's strategic geographical position made it a critical player in the intricate chess game of global control. Mackinder's theory also found application in the strategy of Western powers during the Cold War, providing a framework for understanding the power dynamics between the United States and the Soviet Union, which controlled the East Bloc countries at the time. Whether Mackinder's Heartland Theory directly influenced these historical events, or merely coincided with them, is a topic of ongoing debate among historians. Regardless, the theory's enduring influence is evident in the strategic thinking of nations, emphasizing its continuing relevance. While the Heartland Theory was already well established in geopolitical discourse by the mid-20th century, it took a fresh perspective to redefine it for the post-Cold War era. Enter Alexander Dugin, a Russian political scientist who published his influential work, The Last War of the World Island, in 2012. Dugin, a notable Eurasianist, presented an alternate vision of the world that resonated strongly with the ideological shift in Russia after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Building on Mackinder's Heartland Theory, Dugin proposed a renewed emphasis on Eurasia, stressing Russia's integral role in this vast landmass. Dugin's work carried significant implications for Russian geopolitics, not only reinforcing Russia's central role in world affairs, but also underscoring the strategic importance of maintaining control over its neighboring territories. In the last war of the world island, Dugin envisioned a world divided into two main factions: the land power, primarily consisting of Eurasia, and the sea power, led by the United States and its allies. Dugin argued that these two powers are locked in an eternal struggle for global dominance, with the balance of power shifting back and forth over time. He suggested that the control of Rimland, or the coastal territories bordering the Heartland, was of utmost importance. While this contradicted Mackinder's focus on the Heartland, it echoed the Rimland theory proposed by Nicholas Spykman in 1942, which held that controlling the Rimland areas was key to maintaining global dominance. Dugin's reinterpretation of the Heartland theory marked a significant turning point in Russia's geopolitical thinking, reasserting its central role in global affairs and inspiring a renewed sense of nationalistic fervor. His theories were met with criticism, with many arguing that they didn't take into account the increasingly interconnected nature of the modern world. Despite these criticisms, Dugin's work has left an indelible mark on Russian geopolitics and has been instrumental in shaping the country's strategic thinking in the 21st century. The impact of Alexander Dugin's reinterpretation of the Heartland theory resonates far beyond the academic sphere. It has found a willing audience in the corridors of power, notably influencing the strategic thinking of Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Russian elite. From the moment Putin assumed office, he has shown a clear emphasis on restoring Russia's status as a global power, a theme that aligns remarkably well with Dugin's writings. Putin's policies, particularly those pertaining to the expansion and consolidation of Russian influence, reflect a geopolitical vision that mirrors Dugin's land power versus sea power paradigm. For instance, Putin's initiatives to strengthen ties with countries in the Eurasian region align with Dugin's emphasis on Eurasia as the epicenter of geopolitical power. The establishment of the Eurasian Economic Union, an initiative aimed at fostering economic integration among the post-Soviet states, can be seen as a direct implementation of Dugin's theories. Further evidence of Dugin's influence can be seen in Putin's approach to Russia's foreign policy, which exhibits a distinct focus on maintaining control over Russia's peripheral regions and neighboring states, an echo of the Heartland theory's emphasis on controlling the Rimland. Dugin's influence is not limited to Putin alone. His work has found favor among various sections of the Russian elite, who see in his theories a justification for Russia's global ambitions. His ideas have contributed to a nationalistic sentiment that views Russia as a besieged fortress, engaged in an existential struggle against Western powers. Despite the widespread influence of Dugin's theories, there are critics who argue that they are overly simplistic and fail to account for the complexities of the modern world. Nonetheless, the impact of Dugin's work on Russian geopolitics is undeniable, shaping the worldview of the country's leaders and providing a compelling narrative for Russia's global aspirations. The potency of the Heartland theory, as reframed by Dugin, becomes palpable when we explore its implications for contemporary conflicts, most notably the war in Ukraine. Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014 and the ongoing conflict in eastern Ukraine resonate deeply with Dugin's geopolitical vision, illustrating his idea that control over the Rimland is essential for global dominance. The Russian intervention in Ukraine has been interpreted by many analysts as an attempt to retain influence in the region, a linchpin in maintaining control over the Heartland. The conflict represents a physical manifestation of the geopolitical theories we've discussed, showcasing how Dugin's ideological principles align with Russia's strategic objectives. Ukraine's strategic location, being part of the Rimland bordering Russia, makes it a critical region for Russia's geopolitical strategy. Dugin's influence can be traced in Russia's insistence on maintaining Ukraine within its sphere of influence. A stable, Western-aligned Ukraine could disrupt Russia's control over the Heartland, which, following Mackinder and Dugin's theories, would have significant geopolitical implications. Looking forward, the influence of Heartland theory and Dugin's ideas on Russia's strategic thinking could have far-reaching implications. If the Russian elite continue to subscribe to these geopolitical theories, we could see a continuation of Russia's assertive foreign policy, particularly in areas considered critical to its national interest. Russia's actions in Ukraine and its broader foreign policy strategy provide us with crucial insights into the country's geopolitical thinking. The persistence of the Heartland Theory, repurposed and revitalized by Dugin, illustrates its enduring relevance in shaping the world order. Observing Russia's actions through this lens allows us to anticipate potential future moves and understand their strategic implications. As we reach the end of our exploration into these powerful geopolitical theories and their real-world impact, we would love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Mackinder's Heartland Theory and Dugin's interpretation will continue to shape Russia's geopolitical strategy? How might this influence global politics in the future? We look forward to your insights and engaging discussions in the comments section below. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Red Watch TV. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons below, and we look forward to seeing you next time.